Steve Payne throws out what's left of his fire-gutted home. But he can't throw out a memory that will burn in his mind for a long, long time. One April night, Steve and his wife, Linda, were asleep when rural Metro officials say a fire started at an electrical outlet on the side of the house.
She said, "Steve, there's a burglar in the house." I got up and grabbed my gun, went downstairs, and I saw the carpet on fire. It was coming out of the door at the end of the house. I went back to get some water to put on the carpet, and I just couldn't put it out.
The blaze ripped through the walls and into the main part of the home, wiping out everything in its path. Steve's wife was nowhere to be found.
I decided to go back in the house looking for my wife because she didn't follow me down. And I got in the house and back, got overcome by smoke. I was upstairs, and I finally had to get down on my knees and just crawl back out of the house.
Within minutes, rural Metro firefighters found Linda uninjured on an upstairs balcony and lowered her to safety. The Paynes are not alone. While cooking is the leading cause of house fires in the United States, a study by the National Fire Protection Association says almost 21,000 home structure fires are electrical, resulting in 330 fire deaths. In that respect, the Paynes are fortunate, and they will rebuild on the property they have called home for some 25 years. As for those rural Metro firefighters who arrived on the scene that night, they were honored by Knox County and will forever be in the hearts and minds of the Payne family.
Those firemen were really heroes, though.
But firefighters need your help. Things could have been much, much worse for the Paynes. WBIR and Rural Metro have teamed up to go through several different scenarios to bring you invaluable information.
So this is what it all leads up to, a home fully engulfed in flames. What we're going to show you could help your family survive if that was your home. So join us on Live at 5 at 4, 10 News at 6, and The Night Beat, Monday on Channel 10.
Fire truck's on the way.
When we opened that door, we got completely controlled by fire.
The size of fire doubles in size every 2 minutes.
Okay, he's about to go, Jerry. About 4,000 people die every year because they didn't do this right.
I'm going to get low, stay down where it's not as hot.
Larry Wilder is here with us from Rural Metro Fire Department. And Larry, how can electrical outlets be dangerous?
Well, Russell, electrical fires are the leading cause of fires in the United States. And the problem that we have with these types of fires is a lot of times it can be hidden behind wall spaces that the homeowner may not see. And you have to understand that a fire that may develop behind this part of the wall can rapidly extend through the rest of the home. The situation we've created here, a little scenario, is an overloaded outlet, and we may have a fire that can start here behind the wall and extend up and rapidly spread throughout the rest of the house. So we want people to realize you may not see it, you may only smell it, and if that's the case, you just need to call 911, get the fire trucks out there, and let the firefighters go in and start looking for these extensions. You see right here, we may have some smoke coming from the electrical outlet. You may see it start to progress around the wall, up the outside of the wall. You can see up here in our cutaway that we've created. Now this shows the things that you're not seeing. You see fire and smoke maybe starting to develop here into this portion of the wall. Like I say, it can really quickly get up into the rest of the house.
So what should we do at this point?
Russell, at this point, the best thing to do is get out of the house, because there's nothing really you can do at this point right here. You can try to throw an extinguisher on it, but it may have spread to some other part of the wall that you can't see.
So 911 is the best thing to do at this stage?
The best thing we can do right now is to evacuate the home, alert 911, and let's get some fire help on the way.
All right.
Okay, Russell, you look right here, you can see that we've got a lot of smoke developing around the outlet. In our cutaway portion here, you see smoke developing up into the interior portion of the wall. Like I said, these are parts that you can't see. Okay, now we have open flame. Okay, this can really quickly spread to the rest of the house.
So what would you as firefighters do once you got on the scene?
Well, your job is to get out of the house, call 911. When the firefighters arrive, let them know what you found and what part of the house that it developed in, that you originally found this. Then at that point, the firefighters can go in here, they can start taking out this wall right here and start to suppress the fire from the interior portion of it.
So we've talked about the dangers of electrical outlets. Now we are in the kitchen. Billy Keir joins us with Rural Metro to talk about some of the dangers that can take place in here.
Right. We're actually standing in the room that's one of the leading causes of home fires, which is inside the kitchen. And what happens is that if you're cooking on a stovetop, you have flammable liquids in a skillet. And once it reaches a high temperature, it can actually ignite. It can also flow out of the skillet onto the elements, which can cause a larger fire. One thing that we also talk about is the flat stove tops that we have now on our stoves. Articles like this that are very flammable, if you're not paying attention, you throw it on the back, you turn on the wrong eye, you've also got a fire as well. So we're going to talk about now what those fires can do, and we're going to let you try to extinguish some of these fires.
Okay, Billy, we have flames in the pan. What do we do at this point?
Right, you've walked in, you've seen that you've got a stovetop fire. One mistaken method of extinguishment is to grab a glass of water and put it on there. So let's see, let's kind of get ready for this, and let's see how well that works. Go ahead, Russ, throw it on there. Okay, we see that you can't mix water with oil or grease, flammable liquid. So the proper method to extinguish a kitchen fire at this size is actually just use your lid. Okay. So you just approach the fire, cover it, smother it. Okay. Just approach the fire and actually cover it and seal the lid. Perfect.
All right.
Perfect. Now that's the proper method to actually extinguish a stovetop fire. Good job, Russell.
All right.
So now we're gonna take a break here. We're gonna actually get this fire going again, and we're gonna show you another method to use, which is the fire extinguisher.
Okay, good.
Okay, Russell, let's see how good you are with the fire extinguishers. We got the same type of stovetop fire. We got a fire extinguisher. Quick way to use this is pass. Pull the pin out. Okay. A for aim the extinguisher. You want to aim at the base of that fire.
Okay.
Sweep. Squeeze and sweep. Go ahead. Good job. Good job.
That worked?
That worked. Now remember, your fire extinguisher is only limited to basically a Band-Aid to that fire. So that fire is as much as you would ever want to try to extinguish with a fire extinguisher this size.
All right, great.
Great, good job.
All right, Larry, another situation, possible danger situation with electrical outlets, but this time we're focusing on the heater itself.
Yeah, Russell, we had just experienced one of the deadliest winters for fires in the United States, and one of the leading causes was using of secondary heat sources. Space heaters, fireplaces, wood-burning stoves, things like that can be a big problem for residences, to experience a fire. Now, in the scenario we've created here, we have a space heater. The problem that we have is the heat source is too close to an upholstered fabric. Curtains, fabrics, anything that could ignite from the heat itself. We want to make sure you observe some safety precautions, 3 feet of clearance around any heat source. When you buy these devices, look for safety features. Maybe a tip-over function so that it would shut off. Look for things like an overheat function. If it gets too hot, it'll shut itself off as well. But like I said, we've created a scenario here. We want to show how these things can progress. The big problem we have is things left unattended. Okay, people turn these heaters on, they go to bed, and it takes a while for this to to build up the heat to the point that it can actually ignite a fire. But while you're asleep, that's certainly capable of happening. So we're going to let this go for a little bit, and we'll come back and check on it and see what happens.
All right, sounds good. Okay, Larry, obviously we've got some pretty big flames here. What goes on from here?
Okay, Russell, understanding that this could take hours for it to develop, unattended heat source. At this point, you come in, you discover a fire like this, you don't want to try to put it out yourself. You need to pull out, we need to get the fire department on the way, call 911, get them over here. But right now, I think it's a good idea for me and you to get out there and let's let the fire guys come in and take care of this.
So we showed you how a fire can start while you're cooking inside the kitchen. Now we're going to talk about some of the dangers of cooking outside, Billy.
Right. Grill fires actually cause about 4,000 to 6,000 structural fires a year in the United States. And one reason why we're seeing this is that people are cooking too close to the structure. Maybe they're cooking over an overhang as you're here today. Maybe it's raining a little bit. They try to light their grill underneath that. Or they're cooking on a deck. And all those are combustible areas. So the Fire Bureau in Rural Metro says you got to get this at least 10 feet away from the structure. The other problem is that if it's a gas grill, you don't want to fight a gas grill fire. If you have a leak in a hose, it catches that on fire, that's a dangerous situation. You want to back away and call 911.
Okay, and what is a mistake people make with grilling out with fires?
Right. Basically, what we're holding today, this is the wrong way to stoke a barbecue fire, and we see it all the time. Someone actually approaches a fire with this. They feel like it's dying down, as this one is, and they actually want to relight the fire with lighter fluid. And we'll go ahead and show you how bad a mistake that is right now. You ready?
All right. Yeah.
So you can see just a couple
wow,
of that sprays, and that can really do some damage. And we'll show you just simply by adding lighter fluid to something like this, the dangers of someone actually approaching that and actually being burned. And in a little while, we'll actually see this work its way up in that overhang.
And the wind can really play a factor.
Oh, sure. You saw how that fire just came right on top of us.
Okay, you can see the fire has now gone to the overhang, and at this point, Billy, what do you do?
Right, at this point, it's call 911 and activate the fire department immediately. There's no sense to even try to extinguish a fire like this. What happens is if this fire goes unintended and you go inside and you get distracted and you had actually fire that was progressing too close to combustible, within minutes this fire is actually going to travel into the attic space, and this is going to be a full house fire.
So this is what can happen if you leave a grill unattended for a while.
Exactly. If you walk away from a grill while you're cooking, this is exactly what could happen.
It's all too often that we bring you pictures like these that normally mark the end of a tragedy. In this case, it's what's left of one of several donated houses Rural Metro burns down for training exercises each year. And this time, they asked Channel 10 to come along so we can show you what it's like inside a real fire and what it takes to escape. I'll be inside during a real fire, but I won't be alone. 2 Channel 10 photographers suit up in full fire gear. We have 4 more cameras on the outside, plus a camera below the smoke, and one that can see through it with thermal imaging. As we get into position,
First thing, if you're in your bed, you gotta roll out of your bed and you gotta get on the floor.
firefighter Billy Keir teaches me potentially life-saving steps.
You gotta get underneath it. Temperatures there are gonna be about 1,000 degrees. Temperatures here about 100 to 200 degrees, which are survivable, okay? So we have a decision to make. We need to think about 2 ways out. The front door is the way we know best. Most people want to go that way. You got to make sure you can get out this door first. So you're going to come to the door. You're going to feel it and make sure it's not hot or you don't actually see or feel fire through this door. You're going to feel that with the back of your hand and move your hand up the door, okay?
Then it's time for me to put the lessons to use.
Okay, Russell, we heard the smoke detector. That's our first alert that there's danger inside of our house. We've got a house fire.
All right, I'm checking the door right now. It does not feel hot, and I don't see fire coming through the door either. Man, this is filled with smoke. All right, I'm gonna get low, stay down where it's not as hot, where I might be able to see a little bit better. All right, I'm making my way out of the room. I'm reaching for a wall so I can feel my way around, because inside here, once this smoke begins to thicken, even though you think you know where you're going, even in your own home, you really get confused, especially if you're kind of anxious. It's very easy to get like that in this situation. So I'm following the walls as I go along, trying to stay low, and hopefully get towards the front door of this house. Right now I'm looking for another wall. All right, I got it. All right, I'm getting close to getting outside this house. All right, got this open. All right, so now I'm out.
I'm out of breath and a little rattled, but I'm safe.
It gets kind of scary in there, but they told me before, if you don't panic, that's the best thing you can possibly do. So that's what I did.
Thanks to Rural Metro firefighters and their lessons on how to get out alive.
You think you could do that in your house if you had to?
I hope I could. I think now, having gone through it, definitely, and being briefed beforehand, definitely helped.
They have been images familiar to anyone, from an outdoor cookout to a comfortable chair to dinner on the stove. We've given you lessons everyone can use.
Okay, now we have open flame. Right now I think it's a good idea for me and you to get out of here and let's let the fire guys come here and take care of this.
So you just approach the fire, cover it, smother it.
Now we'll show you something we hope no one will ever face. All the preparations, planning, and precautions have been leading up to this. The flames will run their entire course. and a camera inside will send pictures until the fire consumes it as well. We're going to take you through some terrifying moments that could happen at your home to make sure you know how to get out alive.
Once you call for help, these firefighters can be on their way in seconds, but it's what you do in the minutes that follow can be the difference between life and death. Now we're going to watch as a professional firefighter does what he has to do to buy himself valuable time, and watch as his colleagues move in for the rescue.
Even as firefighters arrive at the call, they're already planning their first steps. Battalion Chief Rick Harrell walks us through.
We're going to go ahead and get a hose line deployed to where they think they're going to make their entry. We're going to give a good report to the next in engine company. They're going to do a walk around to secure all utilities and also try to find the seat of the fire and, more importantly, where that victim might be.
Inside, firefighter Billy Keir is weighing his best chances for survival.
In this scenario, I have no early detection, which means this fire is growing rapidly behind this door. I've got about 2 minutes to get out of this structure right now before fire consumes this whole structure. I'm going to show you now why this would be a bad decision to go this way. As you can see, this fire in this room is actively burning. If I try to go this way in just a couple of seconds, there's no way I can survive this fire. Without this mask, I would have already sucked in hot toxic gas and I would have never made it. We're going to have to shut this door and go the second way out. I'm going to use whatever we got to barricade to buy me some time. Now I've got to look for the second way out. That's going to be a window. And remember, in your house, you're going to have to check these windows to make sure they work. If you're elderly or you're a child, you're going to have a hard time opening a window. Make sure these windows are easily to open, because this is going to be my only way out.
So we're going to completely try to remove that window, and we're going to bring that victim right out of that window with assistance.
All right, I'm trying to get out of this building. I need help right now.
Back up. Back up away from the window.
I'm in trouble. This is my only way out.
Let the fire out. Let the fire out.
Without that help, I would have never made it. The fire was actively moving its way into that room. If you can see right now, when we opened that door, we got completely controlled by fire. We'd have never made it. That's how important it is to have a plan. Without a plan, you would have never made it out of that building.
We had a victim that was still conscious, able to give an indication to the firefighting crew outside that they were there next to the window. Certainly the best scenario is that there's not going to be anybody in the structure once we arrive.
And I guess the victim did a lot of things right to stay alive for that period of time.
Absolutely. Shut the door, try to control the smoke conditions by putting something under the crack at the bottom of the door, and let the fire team know outside that I'm here, and certainly we're going to come get you.
All right.
Even now, neighbors would only see a little smoke, but inside, the picture is much different. Barely a minute after flames first appear, the walls are on fire. After 90 seconds, nothing could survive. But this camera shows us something no living person would ever see. A scene all too familiar to firefighters. Flames consume a home, and with it, all the possessions, hopes, and dreams that once lay inside.
This home will burn for hours, and firefighters will keep it from spreading, but there's still only one way for it to end. Another home going up in flames. No one was hurt, and firefighters hope what you've learned today will help you keep safe. For 10 News, I'm Russell Biven.